Recording?
Yeah, your light is on.
When I talk, do you see my little bars go up?
They do. They go up and down.
And when you talk, I see your bars go up.
Oh, that's cool.
We are on.
We are on.
We are live from South by Southwest EDU.
2018.
Nice. Thank you for
Austin.
coming, for joining us. We're at the Hilton
Live.
Hotel, right?
Yeah, the Hilton Austin downtown.
Yeah, across from the convention center.
Right across from where we just were.
Stuff was happening.
There was meta stuff. Tell them what happened.
Oh my God. So we just came from one of our sessions that we ran. It was the Podcasting for Education meetup.
Yes.
And I don't think anyone has done an event like that at South by before, South by EDU.
Not that I'm aware of. If they have, I haven't gone to it.
People said they didn't know about it, that this was a new thing.
Yeah,
so
and they
it's
had
good.
so many questions. As soon as they walked in, they were like, okay, what do we do?
Yeah, people came in.
Because there were not enough chairs
There was like
for everyone
40
to
people
sit in.
who came in,
Yeah.
and they sat down, even though it was a meetup, thinking like, oh, were we going to present narration to them? No.
Right. So interesting. Number one, I wonder how the concept of a meetup has not, really maybe been explained or I thought more people would know what a
Like
meetup
what it's
was.
gonna be.
Yeah, like
Well,
kind of what to expect. Sure.
There were chairs set out, so maybe people just thought I was walking around Austin for like 5 hours and I just
Oh,
want
yeah.
to sit. I don't know.
I don't know. Could be.
I was satisfied. I was actually really impressed because I met the hosts of Lab Out Loud. It's a podcast I listen to from the National Science Teachers
Yes,
Association.
that's the one that you told me to listen to with my son.
Yeah, and I think I
not
mentioned
too
it
long
here.
ago. Yeah.
Oh no, that's the Tumble
Oh,
podcast.
both though. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This one is for the adults in the room. Not that they cover adult stuff
Oh
all the
yeah.
time.
Lab Out Loud.
Yeah, Dale
Yeah.
and Brian, they have talked about sex education before and the science of that.
Well, but
that's the extent of it. As
kind of necessary somewhere after maybe third or fourth grade.
This is true. We can have that conversation one day.
It's a whole
They
nother
already
thing
had that conversation.
for a whole nother day.
No, but it was really cool meeting them and talking to other people with podcasts. But the majority of the people there, we asked the question in the beginning: how many people here
Have a podcast,
And
or have a favorite.
Right, they raised their hands, but
Yes.
it was only maybe like 20% of the room,
Yeah.
something like that.
About five or six people.
Something like people.
Yeah.
A lot of people were in the beginning stages of it.
Yes. I talked to, at the end, some elementary school teachers who want their kids
Right.
to start podcasting.
And they didn't come in with that idea, if I understood correctly.
One did.
And then spread it around.
Yes. It went viral.
She was a good salesman.
Yes. But it's such and we've talked about this on this podcast before, that you can use podcasting to meet so many educational goals and
Yeah.
standards.
Yeah.
There's a component of literacy, there's a component of math, there's a component of science, of technology. Even you can tie in social studies, arts. If all of the kids are working on that same project, then all of the teachers involved are only looking at maybe their component of it or grading their component of it. Then a podcast that, say, takes 3 or 4 weeks to put together, you have, 12, 15, 20 grades coming out of it per kid across content areas. How brilliant is that? It's easy. It makes everyone's job easier.
Well, it's not easy to do.
Well, no,
I'll take that. There's a lot of work in making this
I'll
podcast.
backpedal on that one. Okay.
Like I did, so I did meet a lot of people who were starting to do podcasts, or they had already done podcasts, and they all agree that it is something they do on the side because nobody's like
Yes.
making the huge big bucks in education podcasting right now.
No.
But they do love it.
Yes, they do.
They produce a lot of useful information.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to that table of educators who wanted to produce podcasts for kids, I spoke
Yes.
to one of the guys, Jesus, and he was saying that they wanted to have their kids write out things to say first. So it was going to be a literacy
you have to
exercise.
have a script.
And then they
Yeah.
were going to record. And
Mm-hmm.
I was asking him, aren't there complexities in having little kids do podcasting? And I was wondering how that would go. So if he figures it out,
I know. I
need
hope
to,
they
feel the secrets.
I hope the people that came to our meetup stay in touch and
Yeah.
really let us know what their progress has been, what they're working on, how it's going, and then be able to share that with other educators as well. Because, we talked to 30, 40 people in there today, and that's such a small sampling of what the larger education community looks like. These cannot be the only people in America who want to do podcasting with their students. So I think it could be really powerful, and I was really excited by it.
Did you talk to anyone who had never done podcasting and they were trying to find tips for starting?
Yes. And so, some of them were those elementary educators. When there was a woman who came in at the very beginning she just wanted even brainstorming ideas. What are some podcasting episode ideas? What do you even talk about? How do you know what to talk about? How do you know who to have on there? And so we had a pretty good conversation about that, and I just kind of blew some examples by her that we have done and the other local podcasts have done as well.
Yeah, that would be a great opportunity to collaborate with English teachers. I saw a lot of teachers from different disciplines too over here. It wasn't just engineering.
No.
There was like people with expertise in film, and they teach that audiovisual stuff.
There was a high school principal.
Oh, really? I didn't meet him.
Yeah, he's from He's from out of state, and he wants his communications teachers or his speech teachers to be able to use podcasting as either a point of differentiation for that student who is super reluctant or really anxiety ridden, who really would very much struggle with getting up and speaking in front of a group of people.
It could be a stepping stone.
Exactly. But then we also talked about the idea that communication through electronic media happens still routinely on a daily basis. When you watch the nightly news, someone is sitting behind a desk looking at a camera, telling you stories, but still somehow making a connection with you. And so it's sort of similar to podcasting, only, it's got the visual aspect, but you can make that connection even though you're not face-to-face with someone.
Right.
And he thought that was a pretty good point and, pretty powerful, and he hopes to kind of take that back to his staff and say, let's think about this as a solid component of our curriculum.
Yeah. No, coming back to those higher level questions, not the technology stuff right now.
Right.
It reminded me of one guy, I forget his name, but he was from the It Gets Better project. And he was there to try to find out, should they create podcasts by and for, high schoolers and kids who are in the LGBT queer community. And he was trying to find out, because he said it like this. He's like, his boss is super interested in this. He himself a little skeptical.
Interesting.
Because he's trying to find out, is there really something there?
Right.
And he wanted to know, are there podcasts by kids already? Or for these different communities? What are the pitfalls? What are the struggles? They already have a big presence on YouTube, on video, where kids already are.
Right.
And so we had a really good conversation about that. I was saying that it seems to me video is more well-developed as a community. Something like YouTube, you can search for anything, whether it's like LGBT community videos for kids or for teens, or I want to learn about physics or something. You can find it so easily, and it'll recommend videos based on what you've seen or what you like.
Based on these results or what you just watched.
Podcasts, there aren't as much of those technologies out. Not yet. It's
not
getting
yet.
there. And so I was telling him, like, if you create a new podcast for like a very targeted audience, it might be hard to get known.
It's in the marketing, it's in the stretching, how do you let other people know about it? Where do you host it?
Right.
How does the word get spread, essentially?
And educators aren't going to have lots and lots of time to do that.
No.
They're already stretched thin.
Exactly.
And every single podcaster I met there, though, they were doing it because they loved it. Like, shout out to Dale and Brian. I don't know if they're listening to this. They probably aren't. But I learned that, they're doing their podcast through the NSTA. But the NSTA kind of it sounded like to me, it was kind of like a sponsor. The NSTA has the name and everything. But like Dale and Brian, they're doing the work. They're getting all the guests. They're deciding what's going in there. And it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm sure the National Science Teachers Association is not providing the two of them a staff or a healthy budget.
I mean, maybe they are. I don't want to presume too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they're doing it because they're passionate about it and because they love it.
That's what I mean,
then,
There's another woman, Megan. She was she's creating a podcast right now, and I forget the name. It's #generations or something like that.
Okay.
But has access to all these university professionals because she's in that community, and she's trying to do a podcast about social science research, essentially, on the different generations, millennials all the way to like the oldest generations. And I haven't heard of a podcast like that before. She's super inspired by Freakonomics, and she wants to clarify the misconceptions we like different generations have about each other.
And break down those barriers. Good for her.
Super interesting. They have books coming out and everything, but she was saying the same thing. She has no time. She doesn't sleep. She has her real job of doing research, and then she has this.
And then this is the side gig.
Kind of like what this is right now. We're doing it outside of our. This
sounds like a very familiar
stuff.
Story. Yes.
So, anyone who is thinking about doing a podcast, and anyone at that meetup that we did, I want to keep on saying how much it's awesome and how I love it. I must have said I love it to so many people, but you have to go in with, what is it, clear eyes, wide eyes? Like, you have to know what you're getting into it.
Yep, exactly.
What's going to go into it. And there's a lot more work than you might expect.
Yeah.
And so when you bring it into the classroom, I think it's awesome if you already have that AV expert. I didn't speak to the teachers so much on the corner of the room that was talking about using podcasts to teach your kids, but I know that they were thinking about like these issues of how to teach your kids the details of podcasting. How much time do you spend on getting software?
If you don't know, so for me, I don't know what I don't know about podcasting. So I would end up, I would think through the details and I would have as much of it planned out as possible. But then I guarantee you I would hit a snag somewhere. Either I don't know how to use the proper editing software, or I would hear about editing software and then find out, whoopsies, it's not free, or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, and then it's first semester and you already have to get it going or something.
Yeah.
The thing that they would tell us in our engineering class was like, if you're an engineering teacher and you oftentimes have to learn new tools and software or concepts,
new skills,
you just have to trust, quote unquote, that you are learning with the students.
Yes.
And it could be that podcasting in the classroom is a similar thing. It's a technology, it's an art form, but maybe you're learning with the students when you do that, and maybe that's okay.
I think so.
I think it's a certain kind of teacher who has to be okay with that. I think you would just have to
understand that is going to occur.
Okay.
And be
right now, maybe not in the future, but
just be right with it.
Maybe it teaches you about failure, about design, all the same things that we do in engineering, actually.
Yes.
Just with a different kind of product.
Exactly.
That's really neat.
Well, your engineering outcomes, your engineering learning in a different style.
Is there a podcast topic that you would be interested in listening to that you haven't heard of before?
I'm not always the best one to ask, because as much as I feature on this podcast,
you're not like listening to it all.
I really only listen to a couple.
You aren't listening to ours all the time, Rachel.
I do listen to most of the episodes of this one, but I'm a busy. I work and I'm a mom, and then I assist Pius with different ventures, and I just don't get out and meet too many podcasts these days. I think it would be interesting to hear about. So one of the things that I focus on as an educator, as a community member, is breaking down barriers in communication. There are so many misconceptions that individuals have, and that groups of people have about other people or other groups of people. And a lot of it stems from we just don't know what they do. Like,
you aren't friends with somebody.
Parents don't know what teachers do. Teachers don't know what administrators do. So on and so forth. I mean, you don't know what landscapers do, even though you think they do. I mean, we just don't know the ins and outs and the nitty-gritty of whomever. And I would love to have a podcast or hear a podcast, not me personally host it, don't get ideas.
You don't want to make that website and advertise it and record it.
And worry about all the editing. No, but it would be neat if there were a podcast that focused on making those connections between people or groups of people, even expanding it past education.
Sure.
I mean, I think that would be a great place to start, though,
That's a good idea. I don't know of one like that right now.
I don't either. Somebody go start one.
There you go. We have lots of podcast ideas.
Well, and we have a nice listening audience, so I encourage them to get that started.
Yes, tweet us out your ideas. K-12 Engineering. That's our account.
Yes. It's an information deluge anytime you come to South by EDU or South by Southwest.
It is. I will say our other session that we did besides the meetup
we
was
had so much
not just an
good
information
feedback.
deluge, but hey, I'll take my pat on my back. I'll pat myself on the back here. We got
If you follow
feedback.
our Twitter, you will see some incredible feedback from the participants.
People really liked our workshop about designing lessons with insights from improv and engineering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm an outcome-based person. I want people, if they're coming to experience a presentation or a workshop or an activity that I'm facilitating, I want them to walk out with at least what they expected, if not more or better. And I want them to be able to use it in a meaningful way right away.
I like that
right
last part
then.
especially.
Like, go back to your campus next week and try this out.
Theory is good. I like hearing theory if it's explained in an interesting way, but I am all about, okay, so now what can we do with this?
Yeah.
And I think we did deliver on that. We gave little tools, improv games, and an engineering method, really, to analyze designs.
Yes.
And in this case, analyze lessons. And I'm excited to hear what lesson tweaks or totally new lesson ideas they may have. I got a lot of lesson feedback, by the way, on how I teach my math class. Oh my God.
Good for you.
Like, I was just thinking back, what we did was we basically put ourselves in an extreme worst case scenario testing, like you would do with a car. You put a car in worst case scenarios, you crash them.
Why don't you go
That's
ahead
what we
and
were doing.
share with our audience what that is called?
Yeah, well, our particular method was empathic lead user analysis. You can Google it. And we were basically trying to put ourselves in the shoes of our students. Because of the length of time that we had in our 2-hour session,
These were 5-minute mini lessons.
5-minute mini lessons.
Yes.
What we did was we let our teachers who were in the room, we let the participants be the judge of our lessons.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for example, I had a math lesson, a 5-minute math lesson about linear equations, because I do this with my students right now, with my adult students in the community college, and I put myself in a worst case scenario, like worst case as in not bad, but like
extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
So, extraordinary. That's the word that I was using. Extraordinary conditions, extraordinary users.
Yes.
And some people had earplugs on to simulate, hearing loss. Some people had blindfolds on, sleep masks on to simulate, vision loss. I myself have vision problem. I could have just taken off my glasses. I didn't mention that. But the whole idea is, like, for me, I don't normally have a lot of students in my class with, hearing loss or these other situations going on.
Right.
I actually
You don't
do
have
sometimes.
exceptional learners.
Right. But I don't have half of my class that way. I mean, fortunately, most schools accommodate for that.
Yes.
So this is definitely like a extreme situation. And you know what? It was really harrowing. Even though I knew what I was getting into, I assigned my participants these different situations, and I knew this lesson. Even with all those things going into it, even though I knew that, it was extreme testing. I learned that my voice doesn't carry the way it should. I have to remember to look at people when I talk to them.
Good.
I don't know. What did you think about your physics lesson that you did?
It was
chemistry physics lesson.
Yeah, it was a density column for those of you who are familiar with
density columns. Hey yo. Yeah. Shout out to density.
So it was just oil and water and alcohol and looking at the separation of the layers and talking about why different substances float on each other the way they do. The feedback I got was that it was particularly useful for the students or the mock students who were simulating vision loss. One of the things that I suggested, so I asked someone else to describe what they saw.
Someone was speaking about.
Yes,
okay,
another student was explaining to the group of students, to the entire group, right?
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And then the other piece of feedback that I got was similarly to you, even though my voice does actually carry well, that the students who had earplugs in noticed a distinct difference when I would look directly at them and speak versus when I would turn away and speak to the whole group.
Yeah.
So similar feedback, right, that it's some of those minor details can really improve the lesson, not only for the exceptional learner, but for the entire group of students.
And I think people really saw that. There was so much good discussion, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely.
Some people said what you just said, how universal design is good for everyone, not just that particular person. Some people said that they now better understood maybe the fears that some of their students might have if they don't understand something.
That was a powerful piece to me.
Yeah. Because it's hard to imagine.
That light bulb went on,
right.
Like, okay, you know what? I never had thought about it from my students' perspective, except, again, theoretically, what we learn in teacher professional development.
Thing. And this is what I love about pairing our activities the way we did. We did that empathic lead user analysis engineering activity that's been researched at the University of Texas Mechanical Engineering Department and other places. And we did it with all these improv games.
Yes.
With our trainer, Omar Dove. He ran a bunch of improv games to help think about lessons with innovation, with creativity in mind. But like that idea of empathy is so important for both improv and engineering. We had our whole podcast episode about this 2 years ago or something.
I think so. Was that season 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
This must have been before our other South by. But it just goes to show, it confirms for me the power of empathy. Like in improv, they always tell you, you have to try and imagine what it's like to be someone else. And it's hard. It's hard to imagine how to be someone else when you're on stage, in real life. And this, putting earplugs in is not, like, we're not trivializing what it means to have hearing loss.
And we did discuss that.
Right, we did discuss that. But it gets us closer. And I think getting closer, as long as you don't just give up and throw your hands in the air and be like, I can never understand this. But like, it's cool to try it, and we can continue to do that, not just for students with hearing loss, but there were so many suggestions, so many great ideas of who really are our lead users that we forget about sometimes.
Yep. And I was just thinking that, so whichever audience member it is who is going to go out and create this communications podcast, empathy really, really ties into that.
They can have their whole episode on empathy.
They could just do empathy and communication. But that's not me. That's for someone else to tackle.
We like to give work to other people. That's what teachers do. So, Rachel, I think our time is up. We'll cross paths tomorrow.
We will.
All right.
Thank you, Pius.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, listeners.
Thank you, listeners.
This was a recording taken on site at the 2018 South by Southwest EDU Conference and Festival in Austin, Texas, with educator Rachel Farrig and yours truly, engineer Pius Wong. If you'd like to learn about anything you heard in this episode, like empathic lead user analysis or worst case testing, just check the show notes or the podcast website, k12engineering.net. Subscribe to this podcast today so you don't miss anything new. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, the Public Radio Exchange, or any other podcast player platform. If you leave us some reviews, that's fantastic because it'll help others find the show and get others thinking about engineering education some more. On Twitter, tweet the show at K12 Engineering. Follow Rachel at rfarrig and follow me at Pius Wong. You can also find the K12 Engineering Education podcast on Facebook and on all the other social networks of questionable engineering ethics these days, unfortunately, but that's a great idea for a future episode's discussion. Get transcripts and all the other details on the show at the ever-growing podcast website, k12engineering.net. Our music in the middle of the episode and now in closing is called High School Snaps by Broke for Free, used under a Creative Commons Attribution license. The K-12 Engineering Education Podcast is a production of my independent studio, Pius Labs. You can support Pius Labs with regular contributions by going online to patreon.com/Pius Labs. You can also send simple one-time contributions by buying us a coffee. Links on how to do that are on the website and in the show notes. Thank you for your support, and thanks for listening.